Welcome back. Let me bring on board Mr. Vimal Kejriwal, Managing Director and CEO at KEC International, joining us. Mr. Kejriwal, great having you. Let me first start off with this very large order win. 1,300 odd crore. You've got 30,000 crore of targeted orders coming to your book. This is obviously a step in that direction. Talk to us about the traction you're seeing. Is this domestic, international? What's the nature? Give us a sense.
Morning, Harsh. Thanks for having me. This entire order of 1,300 crores is from the domestic market. Roughly 50% is from the T&D, around 30% from civil, and the rest from renewables and cables.
How do you look at the order tendering, time scale for Q1? You already got roughly around 4,800 crores of orders in Q1. What is the kind of outlook you have for the tender process which is underway?
So, Sujit, what is happening is that we have a tender pipeline of almost 1,80,000 crores. But for some strange reason, it has been a bit slow in terms of award, especially on the West Asia side. Also, there are a lot of tenders which are there in the pipeline. So I think Q1 could probably be a little bit muted in terms of actual tender award from outside India. India, we are seeing a lot more closures happening, both in the T&D space and on the civil space also. So I think we are pretty okay with what we are seeing on the Q1, but it may be a slightly less, slightly muted as compared to the whole year target. So we will achieve a full year target of 30,000, but Q1 may be a little bit muted.
And does that mean that there's a large part of this is because of West Asia, and if at all that were to significantly change in terms of the developments there, will the kind of order traction go up dramatically for you?
So Harsh, what is happening is that with the talks which we had with the clients in UAE as well as in Saudi, what we are hearing, and even sorry, Kuwait and Oman also, is there could be some work on rehabilitation. They are talking about building redundancies in the system. I think with the threats where we have seen where they are dependent on single source, etc. Third thing is they are talking about building more resilience in the system. Today, many of the lines which we have built are choked to capacity, both there as well as in India also. And fourth part is that with the issues which we have seen with the fossil fuel and crude, etc., there will be an added impetus on building more renewables. So I think clearly we are seeing a lot more things happening on the that part. I think apart from that, if the Iran issue gets very well settled and you have defreezing of assets and sanction removal, etc., if that happens, then it could also open up Iran as a very large market.
Can you also give us a sense of the domestic pipeline? Because you spoke about the total pipeline of 1,30,000 odd crores that's overseas and India. What is the domestic pipeline that's looking? Because the closures are much faster here. And the second, in that HVDC, which is again a bigger opportunity for you, how much of that is coming up?
As far as HVDC is concerned, there are around, I think, 7 or 8 projects which are in the pipeline over the next couple of years. This year, there is a target to, I'll say, tender out 2 of which one has already been tendered out in Rajasthan. So I think HVDC is going to be a very large opportunity. I'll say more for the equipment players, but for us also, I think each of this would probably give us an order book of 1,000 crores or thereabout. So that's the way HVDC is, because it's a specialized job also on the supply as well as on the erection. So I think HVDC is a big thing. Plus, I think you are hearing a lot on gridlock, etc. happening. So I'm clearly seeing that a lot more tendering and fast tracking of orders and projects will happen. Apart from that, I think based on what has happened in West Asia, if you look at the government of India has also increased the renewable target from 500 gigawatt to now 900 gigawatt in 2035. So we do see a lot more work will come out on the T&D side and on the renewable EPC side.
Which regions are going to see a lot of projects coming in? Because if you look at the kind of capex which is coming in from data centers and others, it's coming around Andhra, Vizag, that area, or maybe some parts of Maharashtra. as these would need high amount of power, are you going to see major projects coming in these regions?
So what's happening on the data center side is there are two different models being followed. One is the entire power is being supplied, by the grid. So there are some projects where the grid, the I'll say the lines and the substations are being built as part of TBCB, but there are other data centers, and we are negotiating one very large one, where the entire line and substations will be built by the data center developer. So those are very interesting projects because they are typically on a negotiated basis and large size, and where you get a premium for your quality and for your positioning as a large customer, large contractor. So I think we are clearly more interested in the latter part, and active discussions are going on that. I think we clearly see that this could be a good opportunity.
Last piece, Mr. Kejriwal, you obviously had an analyst meet as well. Anything changes in terms of outlook? You've guided 8.5% margin, just slightly on the softer side versus the 9% you've done traditionally. Is that just temporary? Will we start to see spike ups? Is this order book execution led, the tilt of the order book execution more towards water and the like? What's playing out?
So, Harsh, I don't think we have given any margin guidance as of now, looking at
Okay.
what is happening in the West Asia. So that is one part. What we have given and told in the analyst meet is that we will have a 12 to 15% revenue growth and an order intake of almost 30,000 crores. On the margin, we had said that we will wait for a couple of months for the West Asia to settle, because there are various things which are happening, cost changes are happening, projects are getting, supply chains are impacted. So we said, let's wait for a couple of months, and by the end of Q1, we should be able to talk more on the margins.
Mr. Kejriwal, thank you so much for coming in and speaking to us. Very good clarity with regard to what the outlook is.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Deepan.